We're going to go over the 4 major macromolecules. This is a very short video and a quick overview. And what you're looking at is a graphic organizer that you can use to take some notes. The first biological macromolecule I'm going to discuss are carbohydrates, and the components are going to be carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And you can see that in its chemical structure, that ring-like structure under components. Some examples of carbohydrates would be glucose and fructose. Those are simple sugars we call monosaccharides. Lactose and sucrose are also simple sugars that we call disaccharides. And the major polysaccharides are cellulose, starch, glycogen, and chitin. Chitin is actually made out of cell walls of fungus. Some functions of carbohydrates, mainly they're there for a fuel source. Carbohydrates are the best source of energy. There are some other functions of carbohydrates, but carbohydrates are the preferred source of energy. The next category in the graphic organizer you can see, these are lipids. And lipids are very diverse, meaning they're several different types. They're composed of glycerol and fatty acids. Under your component structure, you can see that. We have triglycerides, which are made of the glycerol and 3 fatty acids. We also have lipids that are phospholipids, and they're attached to a phosphate group. Those are typically components of the cell membrane. And then steroids. Steroids are composed of fused rings with attached chemical groups, and some steroids or cholesterol make up cell membrane components, and we also have lipids that are signaling molecules. But mainly what lipids are known for are going to be a stored energy source. They're also a source of insulation. And the body does use lipids as a source of energy. It's not the preferred source, but the body will burn fat for energy, in addition to all of the other functions of lipids. In the next category, you can see proteins. Proteins are another major macromolecule. Components of proteins are amino acids, and there are about 20 different types of amino acids. Those amino acids are assembled in the ribosomes, but proteins are made up of amino acids. Proteins do a number of different things. They serve as enzymes, and enzymes are proteins that speed up chemical reactions. We need enzymes for many functions in the body. We have structural proteins such as collagen in the skin and the bones, in the hair and nails. We have storage proteins. Some proteins store materials that the body needs. Transport proteins like hemoglobin, that's a common one that is known. Hemoglobin is a protein that transports oxygen throughout the body. We have proteins that act as hormones. We have proteins that act as receptors, which are proteins that communicate. Motor proteins and defensive proteins. Those types of proteins we call antibodies. Proteins have many functions in the body, and we'll focus in on enzymes in another video. And the last major macromolecule that you see in this graphic organizer are going to be nucleic acids. That's your DNA and your RNA. And DNA is composed of nitrogen, phosphorus, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Here you can see under the components, it's showing you a nucleotide, and that nucleotide has a sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogen base. The sugar in DNA is deoxyribose. The sugar in RNA is ribose. But DNA and RNA, those are nucleic acids, and the function of nucleic acids is storage information. You have your DNA that doesn't leave the nucleus, that makes that's used as a template to make RNA. RNA is a strand of nucleic acid that is going to move from the nucleus through the cytoplasm all the way to the ribosomes to work with other types of RNA to create proteins. That's just a general overview of the four major macromolecules. If you want to take notes or print, take a screenshot and print. This is a good graphic organizer for you to use to study.